This is a video on how to use colorless counting in order to come up with a pip count or the difference in pip count, which is going to help us to make decisions about doubling or taking a double or making our checker move. Like, should we race or should we hold back, depending on if we're winning or losing the race. The pip count is one factor that we're going to need. It's an important factor, and many of the top players, every top player uses the pip count in order to help them make decisions. Knowing how to count while you're playing live is very helpful. And so this is just a method for a quick way to get that pip count and get the difference in the pip count in order to make those decisions. We're going to be coming up with a number. So you can see here on this screen here, the pip count is 126 to 117, which means uh, white has 126 pips, black has 117, which means black's ahead by 9 pips. That 126 and 117, we're not going to get those numbers in our method. We're going to get different numbers, but we're going to be able to come up with a difference of 9, which is what we need, that difference number, in order to make many, many decisions. Almost all our decisions, important decisions when it comes to doubling or taking or making certain moves. Many times we need that pip count difference. Sometimes we need the exact 126 and 117 count if we're going to try to come up with some kind of percentages, but that's not often. Many times you can get it right. You can get away with just doing the colorless counting, and many players only do colorless most of the time, almost always. Okay, so there's a few steps. What we're going to be doing, and just to clarify, the top is where is white side. White's home board is in the upper right. This is white's 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4, 5, 6, and so on. They're all labeled for white. For black, which is us, here on the bottom, and this is our 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, 5 point, 6 point, 7 through 12, 13 through 18, and 19 through 24 for black. So those numbers are only going to stay as they are for white, giving us white's numbers, but let's figure out our numbers. And once you do this enough, you know them. Okay. So what we're going to do with colors counting, first step is to figure out how many black checkers are on the white side. Here it's two black checkers on the white side. And there's 4 white checkers on the black side, on the bottom. So that's the first step. We need to know that because now we know there's 4 white checkers on black side and 2 black checkers on white side. That means there's 2 extra whites, 2 more whites than blacks, 2 more whites on black side than there are blacks on white side. So that difference, we're going to use that in our count coming up in a minute. So once we know we have that two extra whites down here, the first step is to take those two extra and looking on the furthest point. So here they happen to be on the 13, but they could be these two checkers, or any two checkers could be on the 14 or 15 or 16 or any of these numbers. Usually it's in this quadrant. So here the last 2 checkers, the extra 2 are on the 26, on the 13. So that's 26 points that we're going to be adding to white's count in a minute. We get that 26 and we use that in our next step. Once we have done that, we're going to mentally erase these 2 from the board. They're gone. We've moved them over here. We're adding them to white's total, and that's all we're going to do with them. They're gone. We're not going to be using them anymore. So now to come up with the white's count, we're going to look at the pips on each point, compare them to the corresponding point across the board. So the corresponding points are like 1 and 24, 2 and 23, 6 and 19, 10 and 15. Those are the corresponding points. So we're going to compare each point with its corresponding point and only count the checkers on whatever side we're counting if they're more than the other side, more than the corresponding point, and we're only going to count the excess checkers on that point. So here, since we've gotten rid of these two from that first step, we've gotten rid of these two, so they're gone. We've got two on the 12, this 12 here for white, and none on this corresponding point. So even though these are black, we're still counting them in white total because this is colorless counting. The color doesn't matter. So 2 times 12 is 24. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. There's 2 on the 8, or 2 on the 8, but that's less than what's on the corresponding spot. So we ignore these two. We're only going to count these pips, checkers, if they're less than what's on the other side. So they're not, so I mean, if they're more than what's on the other side. Here, it's less than on the other side. So we ignore them. Nothing here. Here we've got we got 4 on our 6th spot here, white 6th spot, and the 2 on the corresponding, so that we're going to count the excess 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Nothing on the 5. There's 2 checkers on the 4 point, and there's nothing on the corresponding point. So we're going to count both of those 2 on the 4 point, which is 2 times 4 is 8. We're going to get for our number to add to our count. On 3, we have 1 checker, which is more than what's on this side. There's nothing on this side. So there's 1 extra. So 1 times 3. Nothing on the 2. There's 2 checkers on on white's 1 point, and that's more than what's on the corresponding point. So it's 1 more that's on the corresponding point. So we're going to count that 1 excess checker, which is worth 1. So we're going to take the 26 from step 1 here, plus 12, plus 12 times 2, plus 24, 26 plus 24, 26 from the first step, 24 from here, nothing, plus 2 times 6, which is 12, plus another 12, plus 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 3, which is 1 times 3, plus 1, which is 1 times 1. We add those together, we get a modified or alternate pip count of 74. That's going to be our number. It's not 126, but for our purposes, that's what we're going to use to get our difference. We're not interested in the actual pip count here. We're actually after the difference, which we're going to get with our numbers. Next step, we're going to count the black pips. So here we got rid of those 2 from the very first step, so they're gone. So we have nothing here. Black has nothing here, and since there's 2 here, there's nothing to count. So this is black's 11 point. Remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here's black's 11 point. There's 1 here, and there's nothing here, so we're going to count that 11. 1 times 11. Nothing here, nothing here. On the 10 and the 9. On the 8, we've got 4 compared to 2 on the corresponding point. So there's 2 extra here on this side. So 2 times 8 is 16. On this 7 point, there's 3 compared to 0. So we're going to use all 3 of these. 3 times 7 is 21. We've got 2 on the 6 compared to 4 on the corresponding point. So we have less here. We're going to skip this. We're not going to count these 2. We've got 3 on the 5, which is 3 more than what's over here, corresponding point. So we're going to use all 3 of those. 3 times 5 is 15. Nothing, 1 on the 2 point. We're going to count that. And we're not going to count this 1 because it's less than what's across from it. So we've got 11 plus 16 plus 21 plus 15 plus 2, which is 65. And that's black's alternate pip count. So white had 74. Black's got 65. The difference is 9. 74 minus 65. We get that difference is 9. And since black's count is lower, black had 65, white had 74. Black is in the lead by 9. So that tells us, and we're black. That tells us that we are ahead in the race. If we rolled like a 6-3 here, maybe we're going to use that to run because we're ahead in the race. Actually, this is white's roll. If we were behind in the race, we would probably stay back. But we're going to use that pip count difference as one factor in making our decision. Maybe we're thinking about doubling. Maybe we are being doubled. If we know we're ahead by 9 and we're being doubled, that might affect our decision. Or if we know we're ahead by 9 and we're thinking about doubling, that'll help us make our decision. There's a shortcut. Once we get white's count of 74, instead of adding and subtracting totals, we could take that 74 and go a little faster. 74 minus 11 is 63. 63 minus 16 is 47. 47 minus 21 is 26. 26 minus 15 is 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. So now we got our 9. It's just a little quicker and it's easier to remember, I think. That tells us black is leading white by 9 pips. Another example is when there's a bar, a checker on the bar. So like here. Here we've got a red checker on the bar. We are red. Our home board is on the bottom right. White is on top. White's home board is on the upper right. Again, we start. So this is the example number 2 or example B. We've got 4 whites on the blue side, 4 white checkers on the blue side. And this checker on the bar is going to come in somewhere, hopefully, in here when it finally does come in. It's going to come in on this side here. So there's 3 reds on the white side, 4 whites on the red side, 3 reds on the white side. 4 minus 3 is 1. So that's what we're going to use, 1. 1, and we're going to take it from this furthest point, which is with checkers on it, which is the 13. There's more whites, there's 4 whites and 3 reds, so there's more whites. So we're going to take the white and add it off from white's 13 point. This is white's 13 point. White's 1, white's 6, white's 7, white's 13, and add it to white's total in the next step. So that's 13. And then this one's gone. So we're not going to count that in the next step. But there is one still remaining here. So to get white's count now, we're going to add that 13 at the end. We compare. There's 2 here compared to 1 because this one's gone. So there's one extra, 1 excess on white's 12 point. Even though it's red, we don't care about colors. It's on white's side. So we're going to take that 1 times 12 to get 12. Nothing here because these 2, there's only 2 here compared to 4 here. So we ignore this. We only add it if it's more than the other side, more than the corresponding point. Here on the 6 point, white 6 point, there's 4 compared to the corresponding point, which has 2. So there's 2 extra on the 6. So that's where I'm getting 2 times 6. And then we've got this 2 on the 4, which is 2 more than what's on here. Over here, there's nothing over here. So 2 times 4 is 8. There's 1 on the 3, nothing here. So 1 times 3. There's 2 on the 1 spot, which is 1 more than what's over here. So that's why I'm going to count just 1 here. So I've got 13 plus 12 plus 12 again, plus 8 plus 3 plus 1 gives me 49 for white. 49. Now we'll do red. And we remembered this on the red side. We look here on red's 12. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is red's 12 here. There's only one here now because we got rid of that one mentally. So it's less than what's over here, the corresponding spot. So we ignore this other one down here. On the 11, this is red's 11. We've got 1. There's nothing on the corresponding point. So we're going to count that 1 times 11. Nothing here, nothing here on the 10 or the 9. On the 8, we've got 4, which is 2 more than the corresponding point. So we're going to take 2 times 8, which is 16. There's 2 on the 7, nothing here. So we're going to count both of these. 2 times 7, which is 14. Nothing, or there's 2 on the 6, but it's less than what's across from it. So we ignore these 2. There's 3 here, more than what's across from it. So we count all 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Nothing on the 4, nothing on the 3. There's 1 checker on the 2, which is 1 more than the cross. That's one across from it. So 1 times 2. And then since there's only 1 on the 1 spot, which is it's less than what's across from it, 2, we ignore this. So we're going to take those numbers and add them. 11 plus 16 plus 14 plus 15 plus 2 equals 58. Red had 49, or excuse me, white had 49. We've got 58, so white is leading because red's got more. Red's behind. 58 minus 49 is 9, and red is losing. Red's behind by 9. And again, that'll help us make our decisions, whether we want to double maybe, or if we want to take a double. If we're getting doubled and we know we're ahead in the race, that's going to affect our decision, or whatever move we were thinking about making. Knowing if we're ahead by 9 or behind by 9 or by anything helps us make our decision. And here's the shortcut. Once we know white's got 49, once we've counted white, we got 49, then our next step in the shortcut method is to just subtract. 49 minus 11 is 38. 38 minus 16 is 22. 22 minus 14 is 8. 8 minus 15 is -7, which means we're the opposite side's winning now by 7. We're counting this side, so once we get into negatives, we know it's the opposite side's winning. -7, opposite side's winning by 7. Minus -7 plus or minus 2 is -9. So the opposite side, the white side, is winning by 9. White is leading red by 9, which we can verify here by taking 135 minus 126 and seeing that difference is 9. So we didn't come up with the actual 135 and 126, but we do have the difference, 9. And that difference is what helps us 95% of the time make a decision. Hope that helped.